Welcome to the 2024 Economic Preparation and Depression channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday, November 24, 2024 edition. Thank you for subscribing, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the likes and the comments. I read them all. I appreciate your support during these turbulent times. As we try to end off 2024 on a positive note, we're heading toward the all-important holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we're all blessed to still be here in spite of everything that's going on. And so thank God for that. I thank God for each and every one of you. And we're going to get right into it. Today, we're just going to briefly talk about inflation continuing to be sticky in this times that we're living in, not just in the U.S. and the Western Hemisphere, but also in Europe and Asia, and the emerging markets as well. And so Financial Times had an article saying, how, quote, bumpy is U.S. inflation? Well, inflation is here to stay, as you know. Core inflation has gone down. That's the good news. I mean, we've had this in the beginning of the year. Inflation was as high as at the beginning of this whole health crisis. Then we got out of that. It was like as high as 7-8%, according to the official numbers, quote unquote. Now inflation's still hanging around 3.94% officially. You and I know that unofficially it's 10% to 12%. When we include food, gas, energy, transportation, and utilities costs that we've all been experiencing these past 4 to 5 years here in the Western Hemisphere. Now, the U.S. inflation data came out and it is rising. PCE, the core index that they look at that takes out food and energy costs, rose 0.3% in October. In November, it's continuing to rise. Now, one caveat to this, ladies and gentlemen, is that gas prices is going down. As you know, they're getting ready to switch over to the winter blend fuel grade. And also, so the prices are coming down. Average price according to AAA.com is around $3.23 per gallon. $3.20 a gallon, give or take, for a regular unleaded. So that's good news. Now, Eurozone inflation continues to rise here. The European Central Bank is experiencing inflation as well. And so European gas prices are rising too. Natural gas prices in Europe has been going up too. So that's something to watch as we get into our winter season here in America and other places. The heating bills, the natural gas heating bills, propane bills, will they continue to go up for Americans? They'll let us know. Now, CNNBusiness.com says you need to make, quote, $108,000 a year to afford a home in America. We know the average price of a U.S. single-family home standalone is around $410,000 now. And San Jose, California was the least affordable U.S. metro region this year. As you know, we don't have to tell you that. It's in Silicon Valley. Many of you guys know that other California cities have a high cost of living. San Francisco, L.A., and San Diego are also among the least affordable metros. But in general, every metro, top 25 or top 50 metro in the United States, prices have risen on just rents and mortgages, and housing prices too as well. So everybody's bearing the burden of this now. So in most U.S. cities, according to CNN Business, buying a home now requires a, quote, 6-figure salary. Now, that doesn't denote whether or not it's take home, like after taxes or not, but they're saying that gross, you would need $107,700 to form a new single-family home, pay property tax, insurance costs, and all of that, as you know, according to CNN Business. Now, what's interesting to note is that the wages have not really gone up. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have not had a wage increase in about 35 years, or actual wage increase that outpaced inflation and the COLA, the cost of living adjustment that we get, seniors get and everybody get every year, to the pensions or to the disability or what have you. So is the value of the dollar going down? Do you think the value of the dollar is going down? The purchasing power is going down? Or do you think that the cost of making these goods, the input cost, since we don't make anything here in the U.S., we shipped our jobs out the last 50 years overseas or 60 years overseas, and now it's come back. The roosters have come home to haunt us. And since we don't make anything, it's cost more to get these goods and services from other people. And this proves my point because Megaport, according to BBC.com, I'm sure many of you have seen this, China opens up a megaport in Latin America. The shipping here, Costco shipping Peru here, you can see Peru's new megaport is Chinese built. So they obviously have a stake in the game in Latin America. As you know, Brazil is one of the emerging economies, the BRICS nations, part of the BRIC nations, and they're going to include some other regional powers like Peru, possibly Chile, and so they've got some ports down there. So they've opened up this mega port here. And how is that going to affect us when our president-elect comes in and he imposes the tariffs on these goods and services coming into the United States? That means that inflation is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a one-all fixed thing that's going to happen in the next year or two. It's just going to be a 4-year deal with us in terms of inflation, stagflation, and inflation of goods and services. If this tariff does take effect, China has ports down in Peru and other places that they've been manning here, and the whole APAC, Asian Organization of Pacific trade treaties and all of that. That is going to directly affect the goods and services that we get here in the United States, the price of the goods and services. Now they can name their price now, because now they have South America involved and the shipping port involved. Brazilian soybeans and other commodities can now reach China more swiftly. So they have a means of production, a means of transportation. They have a port, deep water port in South America. So this is going to be very interesting. Let me know what you think about that. What is that going to mean for our U.S. military and for our shipping ports that we currently have here? The U.S., quote, fears Peru's new mega port could end up hosting Chinese warships. Well, certainly we have to wait and see on that, but we do know is that soybeans right here and other goods, Brazilian soybeans and other goods, are now reaching China and vice versa. Some trade establishment has been made there, as well as Chilean copper. As you know, Chile has a lot of copper mines off the coast there, and deep into the more interior toward the Andes. And so this is very interesting to see. Pre-market data shows that the Dow Jones futures are unchanged right now. They're up a little bit by maybe 4 or 5 points here. S&P 500 is up about half of a point, a little bit over half point at 0.66. NASDAQ is up about 6 or 7 points. Russell 2000 is down about flatline, down about 0.07. So this is the futures. Dow Jones futures heading into tomorrow when these markets begin to open. So just something to keep in mind is that we're not out of the woods yet. We still have an overheated economy in terms of prices, and wages are not keeping up with prices at the moment. The good news is that many people are still employed. Unemployment has not spiked above 5% or 6% or 7% yet. It's not in the danger zone yet. So that's the good news. The bad news is that layoffs are still happening in some sectors of this economy, and we just have to wait and see after the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we get into the new year and the new administration gets inaugurated, and all of that takes place. So we have to wait and see till about March 2025 to how all of this is going to shake out once everybody gets the ball rolling, and we're going to see if in fact the tariffs are going to be a real deal, and the cutting back of certain services and things of that nature, see if that's going to be taking effect too. So stay safe, continue to prepare, God bless, and I'll talk to you later on this week once we get the ball rolling with more earnings reports on Tuesday. Thank you for listening.